Hello guys and welcome. Well, how come every time I do an intro I cough? But anyway, welcome to a Noob Guide to TribalWars, and this is about defense and offense. Now, this is about the choices that you make at the beginning now and how your environment is. So take my environment for example. There's a couple of bigger pointed players, stuff like that. Now, to decide whether you should go defensive or offensive at the start is a difficult decision to make. You don't know what kind of experience your neighbours have, you don't know if they're very good, you don't know if they're very bad, or if they're new to it. So you have to experiment in this game. You have to make a choice, and if you get ennobled, you restart, you rethink your strategy, and you try a different one. That's how it works, that's how I do it. So I started off defensive on this world. I'm now offensive. I'm going to try out offensive for a bit, see how that works out. If it doesn't work out, then I'll go back to defensive, because that seemed to work out well for me. But it's best to try out different stuff. Now, offensive people, you need to have a lot of scouts, and you need to scout around your 7x7 area or further out, depending on, what your continent's like. Of course, don't scout someone with like 100,000 points. Don't commit suicide. Scout people who you think you might be able to defeat. It's as easy as that, really. But to keep with this theme, if you see a big player around you, you know that you're not gonna. The best thing to do would be to go defensive. Get lots of spears, lots of swords, archers if they're available, build up your wall, because that's really the only way you can protect yourself against the big players. If you have more troops, big defensive stronghold that you can hold. See, if you got hold a village by yourself as a defensive player, then make sure that you're constantly checking your troop numbers, make sure you're getting a 2-to-1 ratio, stuff like that. Now, let's take, for example, I'm just going to pick a random player, just to show what I mean. Let's go for this guy here. Get good. Now, this guy, he's surrounded by, players who aren't in any tribes, or weak tribes at that. So, if he was like, well, obviously he's in a weak tribe himself, but say he's really good at the game, then I would tell him to go offensive, because all these people around him, they don't seem to know what they're doing. They can't. Yeah, there's a big player over there, but if you look at these, it seems like this guy's maybe farming them. So you have to look at a situation around you and then see you have to try to work out who's being farmed, who's being farmed. Constantly send out scouts, a couple of scouts here, a couple of scouts there. And then when you're about to mass a huge attack on someone, send quite a lot of scouts at a village so that you can see what you're up against, and then test it in the simulator. Don't just attack. So let's take, for example, I have 2,000 axemen, and they have, let's say, 1,500 sword fighters. I can't tell who's going to win, because sword defense have got good general defense, axemen have good offensive strength, so you couldn't tell who win. You have to vary in the facts about the wall. Of course, stuff you can't have control over is moral and loyalty. Is it? No, not loyalty. Luck, sorry. What did I say, loyalty? I don't know. But this is just a quick thing to kind of get you thinking about how you should analyze a situation, how you should decide how to be offensive or defensive. Of course, many of you may disagree. Many of you will be like, well, no, if that guy's being farmed, then he might farm me, so maybe I should go defensive. Maybe you should. But it all depends how far away he is. He isn't going to try to farm you if you're outside. I'd probably say outside his 10 by 10 up, because it might take him too long. He wouldn't get the resources, or it wouldn't be worth his time. By the time he got the resources back, it wouldn't be worth it because you know. I'm just kind of like scrolling around at the minute, just to find a good thing that should. I'm trying to find one where there's like loads of big players around. Now, when you have blank spaces around you, that's kind of good at. Well, yeah, it's good, but it would be better if you had all barbarian villages around you, because then you've got a lot to noble and whatever. But with blank spaces, it means that, say, this guy in a tribe, say he gets nobled, and then he says, in the center of a tribe, because then it'll put you in one of these spaces. That's why there's blank spaces now in the game, so that you can spawn in within. I think how they work it out for TribalWars is they take the furthest away player, they take the two furthest away players from each other, and then they plonk you in the middle, or something like that. I think that's how it works, sort of. So that's why sometimes when you click in center of the tribe, you'll end up in a totally separate, different K to someone else, because half your tribe's up in K23 and half your things in K43. So it put you in K33. Do you get what I mean? I'm sort of going off topic here, but you'll understand what I'm on about. But so these two guys here are probably in a good situation, because if someone spawns in, they'd be able to attack them, and then they'd have another barbarian village that they could possibly noble when it got big enough. I wouldn't say let a barbarian village grow before you noble it, because one, it will be a lot easier, and then you can build up troops, you can work on other stuff, you can get more nobles, you can do stuff like that, attack your enemies. Don't wait for a barbarian to get to a reasonable size before you go, maybe, yeah, let's noble that 50-point village. Because then if someone nobles you out, you've got to start again, basically, at 50 points, and it's kind of, bleh. But saying that, you might be in desperate, that might be the only village around you. If you're being attacked and you've got nobles, send them out. See, the best thing to do is, if you see an attack incoming, would be to try, if you're able to get, either try to snipe it. Sniping is where you get a bunch of troops to come back just before they attack you. Did you get that? I hope you did. Because if you didn't, then watch my series. Self-plug. But why do I keep scrolling now? But so I think that's going to be it. You have to analyze your situation. You have to see who's growing fast, who's growing slowly, who seems weak, who's not in a tribe. You have to put all these factors in and then decide what kind of village you're going to have. Of course, if you're new to this game, I'd start off defensive first, because that's easier. You can build troops a lot quicker than you can on a, well, in theory, should be quicker to build up a defensive village than it is an offensive village. But it depends if you build heavy cavalry, whatever. I talk about most of this stuff in the in episode 2 or episode 3, 2 or 3, about troops, the basics, stuff like that. Now, the best people to attack if you're an offensive player are people outside a tribe. You don't want a whole tribe coming at your back. You don't want to be constantly spammed with fakes and real attacks and nukes, because then, it gets difficult. But hopefully you're taking this advice in. Hopefully you're kind of thinking, yeah, maybe I should give this game a go. Maybe I should try it out. And please, if you've tried this game out because you've watched my series, please leave a comment, because then I'd like to know, because then I'd be able to help you out. I'd be able to give you tips. I'd be I'd be able to send you support. You know, I would like to help you. Honestly, I'm a helpful guy. That's why I do this series. If I didn't do this series, would I be helpful? No. So, all these tips I've learned over the years of experience in my tribe by learning off of the players, asking questions, you know, making friends with people. That's how you. That's the great way to survive in this game. You make friends with people. There are some great people in this game who help you. Of course, you also get the bad people who, you know, kind of troll you when you're trying to have a... But that's the same in any game. Hopefully, I think this has gone on too long. But, so, la 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 la. Let, oh dear. Let me get my head straight, okay? Right. This is the end of this episode. I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna leave you in peace. You can stop watching. If you've already stopped watching, then you're naughty. You should watch all the way through. But bye guys. I love you. Hopefully you love me. Hopefully you love this series. And please leave a like. You know, every like I get, you know, it makes me more publicized, sort of. I think. I hope. If not, I've wasted my life. No! Bye bye. Tiddly-o!